for sunrise.
When the morning's standing at your door,
Started without me.
brighter than our mornings come before. Don't be late, my dear. Life won't wait, my dear. Don't be late. When the day is longer than the night, the road ahead is clear and in the light. Don't be late, my dear. Life won't wait, my dear. Don't be late. Don't be late.
Good morning, everyone. I just happened to, this was unplanned, I just happened to wake up at 4:30 this morning and I thought, I'm awake, I'm gonna go over sunrise. The sun hasn't risen yet. I am overlooking the city and you can hear the city waking up. It's beautiful. There's like this fog back there, and but it's a trickier shot to catch than I would have expected. So I've got on the 16 to 35 and a polarizer, and I've got all these beautiful field sort of grasses and weeds, and got Queen Anne's lace, and and a whole bunch of grasses. And then I have these beautiful trees just on the edge of the escarpment, and so I am actually bracketing this shot, because if I do it so that I get the color in the sky, then the foreground turns into a silhouette. But I may or may not want that silhouette, so then I'm also doing it at plus 0.5 of an exposure value to have a foreground that is properly exposed, in case I want to use that instead. F13 to get a reasonable depth of field. It's giving me 0.7 seconds. I'm just curious now, what happens if I twist the polarizer? It does make a difference to things. Let's try it like that. So what I'm overlooking here in the city is the industry. Hamilton is well known for its industry, and it's kind of how the city got going. Oh, I can see the sun. Okay. I'll catch you in a minute. I want to make sure that I get the sunrise.
Say something like you love me and make my day, like you always do, like you always do.
Wow.
you now.
Wow, that is really beautiful. Oh, the sun is reflecting on the lake as it rises, and it's just gorgeous. I've got ISO 100, no polarizer for this shot, f8 and 1/200th of a second. What I want to do is get a really great close-up image of the sun over the lake, and then possibly combine that with a broader view of the trees and the foreground and everything. I'm definitely bracketing my shots when I have a foreground because the difference in the color is just very, very large. And oh, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous morning. I think I might move over now and get the sun with some of the leaves in the foreground. Why not? Let's try it. Let's see. The question is, where?
Spinning round, round, round. Oh, I want you now, now, now. The world is spinning round, round, round. And I want you now, and I want you now. My world is spinning round, round, round. Oh, I want you now, now, now. The world is spinning round, round, round. And I want you now, and I want you now, and I want you now.
All right, the sun is really coming up now. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm moving all around the place with different foregrounds to see what I like. So sometimes I'm doing a really high f-stop, and that's because as I blend the foreground and the background together, it's easier to do so if you have less of a difference in the depth of field. Meaning if you have a really fuzzy foreground and a sharp background, and then vice versa. When you put them together, the software has to really work out major differences. But if you have a relatively similar, so I'm going f27, foreground and background, then the differences aren't too much. And then when Photoshop, if you're using Photoshop, has to blend them together in terms of focus, there's not as much of a difference, and you don't get those massive blobby blurry spots. So that's what I'm working on. It is now going from orange to yellow golden sunrise, and it's beautiful, just beautiful and bright. Absolutely gorgeous.
When the morning's standing at your door, brighter than all mornings come before. Don't be late, my dear. Life won't wait, my dear. Don't be late.
Okay guys, I've switched over to the Synco mic. It's the D30, and I normally don't do reviews. There are companies that will send me or ask to send me their items, and I normally say no. But a good mic is hard to find, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to say yes to this one because I'd like to see how it performs and how it works for vlogging. Now, I also don't have another mic for my main camera, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm on my Sony A992 and I have my other mic, the Rode Micro, on the Canon M50. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a comparison, maybe tell you some of the features of this mic and let you know whether or not I'm actually going to use it. So the Rode Micro and the Synco D30 mic are relatively similar in terms of they have a cold shoe. You can mount them to the top of your camera, and then you plug it into the mic port. The Synco D30 mic is great because it comes with a very nice case, and it comes with two different mic inputs for your camera, so that you can use it either with a DSLR or an iPhone or another phone. There are two different types of inputs. There's a TRRS and a TRS, and this one comes with both. So I am able to plug this mic into whichever device that I want to do. The Rode Micro is very, very simple. It is, you know, plug and play. There's not a whole lot that you need to do with it. It sounds fantastic just by plugging it in and start talking. So this is the Rode Micro, and I've got a little wind muff on it called the Dead Cat, and that's just what you see here. A cord, you put the cold shoe on the camera and you plug it in. There are no other external knobs or dials or things that you need to do. The Synco mic that I'm using right now has a couple of features. One, you can adjust the input gain on a little dial that you can turn it, and that means the amount of volume that is going into your mic you can adjust. So you can go all the way to 15 or minus 10. So if you've got it at minus 10, there's less noise coming into the mic. And if you've got it all the way up to 15, then there's a lot more noise coming into the mic. The other thing that I like is that it's got one button that will allow you two different options in terms of the amount of bass coming into your mic. And that helps on mornings like this when I have a noisy highway in the city below, and there's this low rumble and this low hum. So I'll switch that here so you have a bit of an idea of what it does. Right now it's on the lowest hum, and now I have that feature off, and can you tell the difference? It also has a feature where it stops you from overloading the audio. So if you're too loud and the mic is too sensitive to it, you can totally get distortion and that really awful sound where the audio just does not sound natural. And so this mic has a feature that protects against that. And as I've taken this audio into Premiere Pro, I can see that it is not going above just under the 0 decibels mark, which is absolutely fantastic because that means that it is working. So the mic itself is a long tube. It has, a good comfortable sit on top of my big camera. I think it might be too much for a really small camera. It might be too long. Depending on how strong your gimbal is, it might work, it may not work. But the mic that the cold shoe that it sits on does allow you to adjust it forward or backwards, and so it does actually account for the possible need to move it into a different position. So, do I like the mic? After playing with the sound quality that it outputs and the comparing it to the Rode Micro, the Rode Micro has a bit more treble. Not trouble, treble. Like it sounds to me a little bit more natural in terms of its upper tones, in terms of the S's and the upper sounds. I don't like to have all of the treble completely gone, because it's, to me, in my ears, it's very natural to hear those sounds. And so that is one thing that I do like better about the Rode. But beyond that, this mic actually seems to perform very similarly, and I do like the little input dials that I can use. The only caution I have there with those two, though, is that, like with the Rode, I can plug it in and I know what is going to come out of it. With this one, if I forget to adjust a dial to what I want, then I may user error mess it up. So I kind of like the plug and play. I like that this one's smaller, but the D30 I think has its place. So thank you to Synco for sending this to me, and there is a link in the description below. And I think I may have this mic on top of my A992 while I vlog with the Rode Micro on the Canon M50. So what a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous morning. Thank you so much for coming along, guys, and I will talk to you soon. If you haven't subscribed, oh my goodness, there's so many bugs. If you haven't subscribed, I would love it if you would, and come along on my adventures, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
When the morning stands